Over 1.2 billion people around the world drive cars, yet they are flawed. Do I need a car? This question has become more and more present among those who are living in big cities. According to the US Census Bureau, over 80% of Americans are living in just 3% of the country. How could this be? Well, it's because of the cities. In the shiny metropolis New York City, for example, the population density is over a whopping 27,000 people per square mile. On an average, that's only 1,032 square feet per person. To compare, in the I think people live there state of Wyoming, the population density is a quite different 6 people per square mile. You can do the math, but everyone in Wyoming must be living very spacious lives. In the cowboy state of Wyoming, you'd probably need a car to traverse the hills and farmlands. But someone who has set their roots in a city, the situation isn't exactly the same. In cities such as New York, Chicago, and somewhat Los Angeles, there are vast transportation systems ranging from trains and buses to subways. No, not for sandwiches. This is where the problem arises with cars. Should I keep my car and pay for insurance, gas, repairs, and maintenance? Or should I just stick with, sometimes gross, public transit? This poses another problem. What if the bus doesn't go to my house? Well, you're in luck for that one. There's actually a solution for that too. They're called legs. On a more serious note, however, are cars needed in cities any longer? To help with that answer, here are some bone-smashing statistics about cars. Every year, nearly 1.3 million people die on the road in the US, but less than 100 people die in buses per year. Obviously, more people are driving cars in general, but buses are designed to be safer, and you have to be a professional to drive one. All of these crashes create traffic, along with just too many cars, and the average commuter wastes 42 hours sitting in traffic jams per year. That's more than a 5-day, 8-hour-a-day work week. Think on that for a second. What could you have been doing during that time uselessly spent? Investing in stocks? Designing a revolutionary product? Well, unfortunately, we'll never know. You'll have to thank traffic for that one. So cars aren't the best, but is public transit better? Well, yes. Yes, it is. Not only is public transit more efficient, but it is also considerably cheaper. In New York City, for example, you can get 1 month of unlimited bus and subway rides for just $120. Depending on how much you drive, that would likely be less than the cost of gas alone. And with a car, you have to pay for the car payments, insurance, and maintenance. Don't forget that public transit is much safer as well. So public transit is better. But what if there is no public transit? Many cities such as Orlando or San Antonio don't even have a subway, even though both of their populations are over 2 million. So here, there is no other option. This is one of the biggest problems with infrastructure in America. Built on cars, the public transportation fell by the wayside. Nowadays, American cities are slowly building up their transit, but still are nowhere near other giant cities such as Tokyo and London. Houston, the 4th most populous city in the US, has only 22 miles of subway track, while Amsterdam has nearly 3 times less people but 4 more miles of track. You might think, why does track length matter? Well, a longer track symbolizes a city more connected and powerful. And what thing makes people more powerful? Money, but also the connection and transportation to where they need to go to see people and do things. The US has an underdeveloped subway, but in some other places there just isn't a population for transit, which poses a dilemma. The problem is that cars are a necessity for those living in non-urban areas. The farmer who needs to tend to his land quickly will have a car, and the people who have transportation won't. But what about the people who are in the middle? This is one of the biggest problems with suburbs. They are in the middle of the two sides, where they don't get the benefits of public transit, but they also don't have to drive across giant fields. So, what should suburbians do? Well, maybe over time, the urban areas will start moving out over the suburbs as the cities grow. Then the transportation will branch out from the city and build a bigger system. But that won't be happening tomorrow. So what other options do we have? Well, I believe the next frontier will be coming with self-driving cars. They can be the closest things to public transit without having it fully. I think the best middle ground would be with self-driving cars administered by the city along with ride-sharing services. This would allow for a large network to be built without the infrastructure of a subway, as subways are super expensive. New York subways cost up to $1.7 billion for just 1 kilometer, or just 0.6 of a mile. If a suburban city was to build an infrastructure like that, it would certainly rack up that price quickly. Auto-driving car-robot hybrids or not, it will definitely be interesting to see what happens as future advancements in self-driving technology come into place, and to see how these advancements shape the cities and communities of tomorrow. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But with companies like Uber, Google, and a plethora of car companies doing research on auto-driving tech, they might just change the way people move in the suburbs. This video was done in collaboration with my friend Mark. He lives in Tokyo and makes videos about what it's like there. You can check out his video on what it's been like 2 years without a car. His channel will be in the description. I also just started a website for the channel. This isn't a normal channel page, however. Here you can read interesting, in-depth stories similar to the ones on this channel. So if that sounds cool to you, go check that out at sparkpass.net. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and see you next time.